Hello and welcome to Tale Teller's Universe. My name is Jonathan. My specialty is short stories. This one actually started out as a 100-word story, but I thought it could be better. So here we go. This one's called Come Inside. It had been a long day for Cindy. She had nowhere to go, and the weather wasn't cooperating. She regretted not taking a raincoat or at least an umbrella from home before she ran away. It was getting cold at night, and rain was a constant risk this time of year. Almost a week ago, Cindy decided she could no longer live under the same roof as her stepfather. Francis was supposed to be a good man, but his rules and his ever-exploding fits of anger were too much for her to bear any longer. Cindy feared something drastic was coming, and she didn't want her mother to be caught in the crossfire. She was walking down Roosevelt Avenue when she happened upon a diner. It was one of those converted railroad cars. It was surprisingly clean and well kept for this city. In the windows were posters showing what delicious meals you could purchase. She only had a nickel to her name, so that 35-cent cheeseburger was out of the question. She also saw a picture of a cherry pie. Her mouth was starting to water almost as much as the rain. Watching from the diner window was a man with dark brown curly hair. He was the owner of Eddie's Eats. Eddie could see the poor drenched teenager was starving. She was obviously soaked to the bone. She looked like a good kid. She was a little petite blonde who looked like she'd come from a good home, but had fallen on hard times. Eddie made his way to the door and greeted her. "You're going to catch pneumonia. Please, come inside," pleaded Eddie. "I only got a nickel, mister. I can't afford anything," she said. "Don't worry about it. At least dry off for a bit, and I'll give you a bite to eat, my treat," he said. The owner looked like a kind man. She hesitated for a moment, and then agreed. "Okay, thank you, mister," she said. The restaurant was empty save for the owner. Music could be heard as she entered the diner. She liked this song. Whenever she listened to the radio, it was playing lightly. She made her way over to a booth and sat down. Her clothing clung to her skin uncomfortably. It was good to get out of the rain. The kindly owner handed her a towel he produced from behind the counter. She thanked him and commenced drying off. "There's a restroom in the back if you want to clean up a little bit," he said, pointing to the women's restroom. Cindy got up and took advantage of his offer. Minutes later, she returned to the booth, much more comfortable and drier than she'd arrived. "You looked hungry out there. Couldn't help notice you eyeing that picture of cherry pie," he said. From his back, he produced a slice of pie and a scoop of vanilla ice cream. Cindy's eyes lit up, and she smiled from ear to ear. "Oh, wow. Thank you so much, mister," she said excitedly. "Please, call me Eddie." "What do I call you, young lady?" he said. "Pleased to meet you, Eddie. My name is Cindy." "Go ahead and eat up. Don't let your ice cream melt," he said. She wasted no time and devoured the pie and ice cream. "You're going to get a brain freeze, Cindy," he chuckled. She smiled, a little embarrassed with the speed she ate the delicious pie a la mode. "You live around here, Cindy?" he asked. He wondered what kind of trouble this girl was in. "I don't live anywhere right now. It's not safe back home." She looked down, not sure if she'd said too much to this kind yet strange man. Eddie furrowed his brow slightly. If this girl was living on the streets, maybe someone was looking for her. If she was living on the streets, maybe no one knew where she was. He contemplated that for a moment. Maybe he needed to make sure she stayed right where she was until he could figure out what to do with her. "You know, Cindy, it's not really safe out there." He pointed to the headline on the front page of the newspaper on the counter. "You should be more careful, Cindy. Cops are looking for a killer. 12 people stabbed," he said as he walked to the door, locked the deadbolt, and flipped over the open sign. Cindy was suddenly nervous. She needed to get out of here. Something wasn't right. Eddie slowly made his way toward the booth Cindy was sitting in. Cindy's left hand gripped the dessert fork, and her right hand disappeared under the table and out of view. Eddie had almost sat down when she produced a blood-slicked ice pick from her stocking. As Eddie's rear end touched the seat and his head shifted forward, Cindy thrust the sharp instrument into the temple of Eddie Zeet's overly trusting owner. The shocked look on his face continued even as his forehead hit the table. The force of his head striking the table sent the small plate flipping end over end and crashing onto the floor. Cindy, whose demeanor abruptly changed to that of the psychopath she was, pulled with some effort and removed the ice pick from the man's head. Blood began to pool on the table. She picked up her elbows from the table as if someone had carelessly spilled a cup of coffee. Cindy used the man's shirt to clean the gore from the ice pick. She calmly got up, replaced the ice pick in her stocking, and made her way toward the door. "Thank you for the pie and ice cream. You're right, Eddie. You never know who you'll run into in this city," she said as she disappeared into the rain. You gotta watch out for those teenage girls and their ice picks. Can't be too safe in the city like that. I hope you enjoyed the story. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. I'll be waiting.